Okay, so it's time to harvest some potatoes. I planted these potatoes here. You see how they've all died back? So that's telling me that they're ready to be harvested. Okay, so what we're going to do is dig them up and see what they look like. I put these in the ground right about 3.5 months ago. Okay, so these are those brown russet potatoes. All right, so let's start with this one. I don't know what to expect. They'll be easy to dig up. All right, whoa, look at that one. That's not bad. I do have small ones in here too, but I didn't expect one like that. Look at that. That's a nice one. Kind of funny shaped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dig them all up and put them into here. Now there are small ones in here also. So small one. All right, get down in there. Hey, that's not bad. That's a good size one right there. See, I also got small ones. They're still good eating. Some of these. Now, when I buy potatoes, I do get some like this from the store. I get them all mixed, small, medium, large. Now, I planted these 2 rows right here. I planted 15, 15 of these. Okay, so we'll see how much we got. Right there. What I'm pulling out now is just from the one potato that I planted right here. So far, it's good. Looks like I'm going to get a good harvest. And then toward the end of this video, I'll share with you how I'm going to store these. Because I eat rice every day. And now that I have these potatoes, I'm not going to eat rice anymore. I'm only going to eat these potatoes. All right, I'm going to keep digging here. Okay, this is from one potato. I already got all of these here. That's not bad. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. All right. Yeah, I'm getting some pretty good potatoes here. That's a small one. And what I'm going to do, when I'm done, I'm going to count all the potatoes I harvested and then subtract 15 from that and see how good of a harvest that is. Right here. So when I buy potatoes, I get this size in the stores right here, along with the bigger ones. Whoa, more potatoes. Another one. You know, this is going to be a good harvest. Okay. Okay, on this potato, I didn't get a whole lot out of this one. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, looks like this one's looking pretty good. I wasn't really sure. Hey, look at that. This one's putting out quite a bit. I wasn't really sure how good of a harvest I was going to get because when I first planted these potatoes, um, they were doing really good. You know, it grew out the green, the potato plant, and then it got attacked by potato leaf hoppers. They're real small and they go underneath the leaf of the potato and they suck the life out of it. And and so the so what I did, I fertilized the potatoes using chicken manure, and then I have a rosemary bush. Did what I did is I took the cutting from the rosemary bush, a whole bunch of cuttings, and I laid them all on the side of underneath the potato plant because they don't like rosemary, and then eventually they just disappeared. So the potato plant survived. Yeah, they don't like some herbs. Like here's one of them here. I cleared all the rosemary plants out and threw them over there. Let me show it to you. Here's some of it here. It's all dried up right there. And I just laid it all along the side of the tomato plant. And it got rid of those potato leaf hoppers. If I didn't do that, I don't know if the potato plant would have survived. Okay, let's see how this one, any more potatoes here. There's another one there. And what I'm going to do, so far this thing's almost filling up right there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get these all dug up, and then I'll show you what we got. Okay. All right. Okay. So these are the potatoes that I harvested so far. What I decided to do, all this potatoes here is from this one row. I planted 7 potatoes in this row here, and there's 50 potatoes right here. You know, on this end, you got the bigger ones like that, you know, or like that. And then they kind of get medium small. And then over there, the really small ones, I counted those as 1 potato, but there's really like 2 in there. So what I'm going to do with these potatoes, I decided not to dig that row up, the second row. It's got about 8 potatoes in there because this video is not about how to store potatoes. So I'm not going to talk about that. But what I'm going to do for me personally, because these potatoes are for just one person, that's me, okay? Because I'm single here on the property. I'm going to go ahead and I've done this before and it has worked, but I haven't done it with this many potatoes. This 50 here is probably going to be 50 over there. It's like 100 potatoes, and mine is 15 potatoes, and that's how many I got. So I'm going to take all these potatoes here. I'm going to put them back in the ground about 8 to 12 inches, and I'm not going to water them. I'm not going to water those anymore. And then every day, because I'm going to eat only potatoes instead of rice, I'm just going to come out and grab 2, 3, 4 potatoes, how many I want for that day, and cook them up. The next day, I'll come out and get whatever potatoes I want for that day, and so on until they're all gone. Okay, and um, and it worked for me storing them that way because they're going to go pretty fast. It's not long storage. You know, I'm not going to be storing it for a long time. And then that one there, I'm not going to dig that up. I'm going to put these back in the ground. Okay, I'm going to start eating those first because all these potatoes were down far enough to where the sun's not going to beat on them. You know, and they'll be safe underneath the dirt. They'll stay just cool enough. And yeah, so I have a second batch of potatoes that I grew, the same amount, you know, on right over here and back there. And so those will be ready to harvest in about 30 days. And then we'll see how long it's going to take for me to go through these potatoes. And I'll make a note of that. So when I harvest the second batch of potatoes, um, I'll talk about how long these lasted me, how many days. Okay. So yeah, I hope you can see the potatoes. I put them on this blue thing towel here because they're easy to see. Yeah, and they're all good potatoes. The skins are really nice for store if I wanted to store them long term. They're nice and thick. You know, if you harvest them a little bit earlier than you normally would, like this potato has a thin skin, it won't be good for storage, long-term storage, you know. So when you leave them in until the potato plant dies, I was reading on YouTube, it says after the potato plant dies, leave them in there another, I think it said 7 to 8 days. And what that does, it thickens up, somehow it thickens up the skin, you know, so it'll store a long time. Yeah. So anyway, I'm satisfied with this. I guess I won't be buying any rice, you know, until all of these are gone. Okay, so that's gonna end this video, and I want to thank you for watching. All right. Okay. Bye now.